So I call our meeting to order. Do we have any additions or deletions?
No.
Okay. I'm moving on to Selectboard Minutes. This is for January 5th, 2026.
Move we approve.
Do I have a second?
Can I just get one question about the minutes?
First, do we have a second
Oh, sorry.
on approving discussion?
Second.
Okay, now, Glenn.
Okay, it's a very minor thing. I thought we agreed that we were not gonna stop oil deliveries, or that we were gonna stop oil deliveries and monitor, or do we agree that
Yeah, I don't
the oil
think,
deliveries are still gonna
I
come?
saw that in the energy minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know that we agreed that we're gonna stop the oil delivery.
Okay.
You,
Well,
you,
I mean, they should be only capping off very little just to keep it
Right.
full. It just feels dangerous to,
what,
in my opinion.
yeah, I know, I sent you updated minutes.
Okay, oh, I see that means.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yes, we have updated minutes.
Okay, so somebody from energy should be monitoring the level of fuel, but we're not gonna stop the deliveries.
I guess not.
And
It's up to you, it's up to you.
up to me.
No, the board.
Rob.
I wouldn't stop.
Well, they thought it would be easier to monitor the fuel usage if it wasn't automatically topped up, but
Okay.
if they monitor it
Yeah.
frequently enough, I mean, I'm just I know that these things, especially on your side, Jill, have not really been up to the task, and it's gonna get a lot colder this weekend.
Yes, it is.
And
And we're gonna need fuel.
I don't wanna be in a situation where, we're in a crisis, so.
Well, just as a reminder, when GMP had to shut down the elevators, they turned off our
Heat pumps.
heat pumps, so we had to use fuel oil last week.
Yeah, okay.
So
And that was for 1,
They
2
can
days?
monitor it,
it was a few hours.
Few hours.
Right.
Yeah.
even if they're capping it off, you can see.
Yeah, you should be able to monitor it.
was
okay.
added.
Yeah,
I'll circle back with energy on that.
okay.
And monitor also the electric, the impact on the electric.
I think
Yeah,
it
they're
is being monitored.
they're definitely doing that. It's a little tricky because
Yes.
one year to the next, the differences in temperature make such a
Yeah.
huge difference how much you
Yeah.
use, but, okay. I'm good then.
Great. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Pay orders of January 21st, 2026. Is this the correct amount, Sandy, the 78,8? So for $78,876.57.
Right.
Do I have do I have a motion?
Yeah, motion to.
Go ahead.
I'm actually trying to pull them up on here, but, yeah, motion to accept,
I'll second.
to pay that.
Okay.
you know.
Please look them over.
You guys here for the regular meeting or the public hearings?
Biggest time on my hands. Just listen.
Okay,
Welcome.
yes, welcome. Okay, all those in favor? Approving the orders?
Aye.
Aye. No road commissioner?
No. But we can do the certificate of highway miles.
Oh, yes, and that's in the packet. We do this every year?
Yep. And there, both Charlie and Phil said no changes.
No changes.
Just need a motion to approve as is. This is for state aid for our highways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Each year they double check our mileage.
Yeah.
And if, sometimes you have a little bit of change if you've added or subtracted any bit, but we haven't had any.
And there's no change.
Is there a reason why Phil hasn't come for a number of meetings? I miss his report.
He called to ask what was on, he's finishing up his day's work, he called to ask, he's gonna be here to be upstairs, he's gonna try to come here before, but, there wasn't much on the agenda for him
Right.
anyways.
Just tell him we miss him when he's not here.
We do.
Yes. Okay. So, Are we going to, accept this? The certificate of highway miles?
I will.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
I have a road question, and I know I should have gotten here earlier, my typical thing late. Can I just put a little thing on the record?
Yes.
right now? The,
And this is Carl
Carl
Ross,
Ross.
and you live on,
We're on Bixby Road, East Wallingford. And I wanted to compliment you guys on paving the end of Seward Hill or Fieldstone or Sugar Hill down there but I would really like somebody to look at whether the bottom of Moranville and the bottom of Sugar Hill need that same kind of treatment. Because in the summer, it gets really dished out in between the paved 140 and the dirt Sugar Hill or the dirt Moranville, and it really gets to be almost
so
an
Sugar Hill
accident.
and Miranda.
And, yeah, where they hit 140, whether we could just do a little bit of paving up there the same way.
I'm sure we can bring this up to Phil.
Yeah, bring it up to Phil, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're on to, are we gonna talk about the small scale highway safety improvement program?
So, Phil met with some folks today about some possible tree removal that was part of this grant.
Great.
And I'm meeting with Charlie tomorrow to do some measurements for crosswalk painting and stop bars and,
Okay, great.
Is it covered by that?
yes,
Excellent.
yes.
That's great.
Yes, cause,
No local match or anything,
wow.
yeah.
Because I was walking, I try to walk very often. I was walking today from Waldo Lane across the bridge, and that crosswalk is just about evaporated, so.
Yes, yeah.
Great, that's fantastic news. Okay. Anything else in, road commissioner to go over, Sandy, or is
Nope.
that covered? Okay.
That's
We are moving on to honorable mentions. We would like to mention Art and Jerry from the transfer station. They would like to extend their heartfelt gratitude to all those who showed their appreciation with goodies and cards over the holiday. Julie Sharon, we'd like to thank her for editing the annual town report. Maria French for cooperating above and beyond with the School Street Sidewalk Utility Pole relocation effort, even when the utility vehicles blocked her driveway. And that is our
Can I
honorable
can I add an
mentions.
honorable mention?
Yes.
This is actually for Sandy, because just reading through his budget stuff, I don't know if we really recognize this, but
Right.
the grant for the 13,000 for that FEMA readiness, disaster readiness, I know you just kind of took the initiative and applied for that and got it. And it, I mean, basically saved us about $11,500.
Yeah.
So
Sandy, thank you.
You're welcome.
that was a big deal. I mean, it kind of just went under the radar, but I think it was a big deal.
Thank you, thank you.
We have any public comments?
I do have a comment.
Okay.
It's on a different subject. I know that we're going to discuss Bridge 15,
Yes.
and I pretty much know what the outcome of that is. In that being the case, I live on Route 103, one of the 4 houses between the junctions. I'd like to propose to the town, the state, whoever, to drop the speed limit some point north of the store, talk to Mount Holly, someplace in their town, to at least 50, or at least 40 miles an hour. Historically, and I've lived there since 1981, we never turned south leaving our driveway because of the blind spot, the hill, the neighbors, and the dip in the highway once you get into Mount Holly. Now that I have to stop every time I leave my driveway, I can't make a right-hand turn to come to Wallingford anymore. I've about had it with 60-mile-an-hour trucks coming up my butt, been passed, literally on a little blind knoll there. I'd like the speed limit dropped. I would also like signage put in for a blind driveway when you're headed south.
And sign for blind driveway.
Yeah.
These are both on 103?
On 103.
Okay, so that would be, bring those up tonight, cause the VTrans folk.
Oh, I intend,
Oh, wait.
I got a lot I'd like to say to them people, but it's gonna be a waste of my breath.
But that's a
this is
state
not.
highway, so.
This you should definitely bring up.
Well, I have another issue with them, and I already asked them once, and I asked the surveyors and everybody while they're up there doing the 140, 155 intersection, to look at regrading the highway, 103, to try and take that rise out of the road, because literally when you pull to the bottom of my driveway, and any one of you are welcome to come up and try and pull out of my driveway and see what I look at every time. But because you have to stop at the driveway, I can come down it and I can see what cars are coming. Well, if I have to sit there and wait for any number of cars headed south to pull out, I lose traffic headed north. They literally fall in that dip. So I have many times started out of my driveway, and at this time of year being slippery, you can't be in a hurry leaving because you'll be in a ditch on the other
will,
side.
yes.
So I can't see that car until it starts to crest that hill at the neighbor's driveway
And if
next.
it has speed, that's
So,
incredibly
like I
dangerous.
said, any one of you are welcome to come up and try and pull out of my driveway and see what I look at.
So just to let you know, on these two very issues you're talking about, I contacted Laura Stone, who's gonna be upstairs later today, about the speed and a hidden driveway sign.
I mean, I'd like to
And
be,
that was in October of 2024.
I would like to be as,
Wow.
well, I don't know the right word to use, is the town of Shrewsbury drop the speed limit to 35? I don't know why. I see more cars pulling into the corner store than I ever see pulling in and out of a driveway going through Cuttingsville. But I'm not gonna go tit for tat. I'd be happy with 40, just, and occasionally send a trooper or somebody up to,
That was
Ticket
the
a few.
state who did that though, it's not the town.
right,
Yeah.
Right.
okay,
No,
that's my piece.
well, thank you. Okay. We're going to finalize fiscal year 2027 budget. And we have the final budget for our review. And it's right here.
So you got the, email I sent today about
It did.
the sheriff's budget?
No, I didn't,
So,
I was at a conference
We
all
level
day.
funded it last
Yes.
night, yesterday, but we can't level fund it because they're going up 5%. If we level fund it, we're gonna have to reduce hours. So if we wanna go up 5%, that would be level funding hours.
What line?
Okay.
I mean, we,
Public safety, right?
we originally,
Public safety.
yeah, it's in public safety. It's in front of you, public safety line 5406.
5406.
So you wanted to level fund it at 79,
But we can't.
but if you
But we
do
can't.
that, their prices are gonna go up 5%. So
Okay.
to level fund it, we're gonna need to increase, level fund the hours, we're gonna need to increase that line to 82,950.
And you said the impact of that to the bottom line is it made it like an 8% budget increase overall,
Is
right?
it an
Yeah.
8%?
Yeah, instead
Yeah.
of 7 point.
Like, it went, yeah, it went up like 8%. I mean, it makes the increase overall 8%, so it was
It's
7, 8.
So instead of 7, 8, it's 8.
Right.
I mean, I don't. we-
I mean,
we
you
could
don't wanna
scrounge around
lower
if I wanted
hours.
A couple thousand, but I don't know if it's worth it at this point.
You don't wanna lower hours. I mean, we're only getting 28 hours a week as it is now.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
No, we want to keep it at the 28.
Yeah.
And while it's on the higher end of my range, it's still within my range.
I think we're okay.
Okay. And it was 54,
5406.
5406.
That's the only change you made from last night?
Yes.
Gotcha.
That's it. Well, we had to change the,
Right number.
4524, or 4523 property taxes and
Right,
revenue,
right,
just to match that, so
Right.
that changed a little bit, that's the only other
Okay.
thing.
Okey dokey. So are we good with that, everyone?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We can finalize the budget. Okay, there is a copy of the Town of Wallingford annual meeting warning. So please look the warning over. We will need a motion and a second, and then a vote.
Move that we accept this Town of Wallingford annual meeting warning as written.
Do you have a second? Is there a second?
Second.
What about the sin shit?
That's,
Article
Article
That's in there,
5.
Article 5.
Okay,
That's Article 5.
sorry.
That's okay. There are no stupid questions. Okay. All those in favor of approving the warning?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to town report vitals.
Ah,
Okay. So it's been a tradition to post vital information, births, deaths, and marriages,
yep.
and those are included. Some towns have eliminated this because of identity theft. Others include them.
Do you guys have an opinion on vitals in the town report? Births, deaths, marriages?
has anyone in town mentioned it? Like,
No. Nope.
They mention it when it's not right. Right?
Yep.
Remember?
I think they're great. And I don't think identity theft, I mean, it's public information anyway. Deaths and births and marriages are all public.
So what do we think? Are we good with keeping included vitals in the town report?
it doesn't seem particularly risky to me, but I don't feel too strongly one way or another about it. I mean, I could see taking the dates out maybe, but even so, I don't know how much protection that gives us.
Well, on the flip side of the protection is you can't get a birth or a death certificate without a vitals application providing your identity, and there's only a small list of people that are allowed to get it.
Huh.
So you have to be, you know, immediate family or a guardian,
Uh-huh.
so you can't just come in and ask for my father's death certificate
Right.
from 5 years ago.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Can they still come in and view records inside without getting a printed copy or anything of it? If you're doing like, say, genealogy or whatever?
yeah, just photocopy, 25 cents for a photocopy, but you can't get a certified copy.
Well, I'm just gonna say that my husband died 10 years ago, and his was listed, and someone stole his identity after he
Oh.
died, so.
Oh, really?
I mean, there are consequences to throwing the names, the date, and all of that out there.
But that rule changed after.
I mean, nobody asked for his certified death certificate,
Was
so
there
they got that information.
You get an obituary in the paper?
What?
You get an obituary in the paper.
Right.
Could we just list births during 2025
Well,
without?
there's been a lot of recommendations that people at least just take the dates out. You know, with a birth, you've got the name, mother's name, the father's name, the date the baby was born. I don't care either way, I just,
Was it? I thought it was odd that they list the mother's maiden name,
Yeah.
which is,
I've
because
always
that's
done
like,
it
so,
that
in
way.
so many like password hints, that's what they ask you, mother's maiden
Yeah.
name. It's just to see it just out there. And I didn't know why they would do that. I mean, obviously sometimes the maiden name's the same as the married name, but why they wouldn't just by default just use mother's name.
Put it in with just a month of birth or month of death rather than a date to go with it?
Maybe. So if you take out the day and just put like the month and the year.
To the vitals.
Either that or get a signed certificate from whoever the parents are that you're gonna put it in, otherwise you don't.
Of course, they've already been in the stand.
Do you like those ideas? I think we like those ideas.
Month and year.
Yeah.
I mean, we can take out maiden name and just put mother's name, and if it's, then nobody really knows either.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just
I've
like,
never liked the whole maiden name thing either.
it's kind of, it seems an odd thing to put in there, like, why do we care what the mother's maiden?
Because I think it's like, oh, I know so-and-so's kid, that's, you know,
I know the grandparents.
I know the grandparents.
That's why.
Oh, look, Morgan had a baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
But do we want to take out maiden?
Maybe just say mother's
Yeah.
name.
I think that's a good idea too.
Yeah. Yeah, take out
And
maiden.
then just month and year?
Month and year, not the day.
Right. On the birth and death, the marriage just doesn't matter. Nobody's-
Right.
The year is obvious though.
True, but
Good point.
it is a good point.
That's true. So anything else on vitals? So it seems like we're gonna include them with those amendments.
Right, okay. That's a good compromise.
Okay. Sub-region emergency management discussion. So there's been sub-region emergency management discussions around the county. There's going to be one on February 4th at the Rotary here in Wallingford to include officials from Wallingford, Shrewsbury, Timoth, Clarendon, and Mount Holly. For Wallingford, Sandy is going to be going along with Jim Bagnell, Emergency Management Coordinator Bill Weiss, and Fire Chief Michael Hughes. The Rutland Regional Planning Commission is requesting a select board member's attendance. What day of the week is February 4th?
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday, I'm not available.
I mean, I can go unless someone else is hot to do it.
It's free lunch.
Lunch will be included, Glenn.
Wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for the lunch.
That's a line from Scrooge, I think. Or Christmas Carol.
Harrison's Carol, that's right. That's right.
Okay, so, thank you, Glenn. There we go. So, Glenn is planning to go as well.
Got it.
We are on to agenda building. Do we have, is our next meeting of noon?
I don't think I have any more. I think calm and quiet would be
Calm and
good
quiet would be
agenda
nice for the
agenda.
next meeting or two. Calm and quiet, it's been quite a season.
Are we gonna make a decision on the sand shed bids next meeting then?
I think so, because that way we can notify them, so that if, I spoke to Phil today and there are people already, Whitetail is already asking, so what's up? So if we, you know, it's gonna be based on whether the article passes or not, but it'd be good let them to know that,
Yeah, like we wanna go with you, but it's contingent
Yes.
on
yeah.
funding.
So we can put that on the February 2nd
So,
agenda.
yeah, let's put that
Now,
on,
would it-
I think it's is it February 2nd or February 1st?
Oh, is it February
Groundhog's Day?
2nd? It's up February
February
2nd.
2nd, Groundhog's Day. Okay, great. Do we have select board comments or concerns?
All good.
Hearing none. We're going on to the public hearing for Bridge 15 in East Wallingford. Will be upstairs at 6:30.
So you can recess for then, till then, if you would like.
So, yes,
Sorry, can I do just a couple of questions.
No, yes, go
Actually-
right ahead.
For the areas that we decided to level fund, but we had already approved preliminary.
I contacted them.
Oh, you did, okay.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Even Phil was fine about the paving.
Oh, good.
He said, oh, I tried.
I'm glad he understood.
Yes, he did.
Okay. We have permission to go out for bid for the school street sidewalks.
We actually officially posted it today.
Great.
Wonderful. Okay, so now, do we have a motion to recess until
Public
6:30 for the upstairs meeting at 6:30?
So moved.
Second?
I do it.
We are recessed until 6:30. Hello and welcome. It is now 6:30, and I'm going to be calling this meeting to order. Welcome. This is a public informational meeting. We are on Tuesday, January 20th at 6:30. This meeting is being held by the Vermont Agency of Transportation and the town of Wallingford. This pertains to Wallingford Bridge, Vermont Route 155, Bridge 15 over Mill River. The selected scope is a permanent closure of Bridge 15 with the option of constructing a new pedestrian bridge should the town of Wallingford wish to maintain a pedestrian connection between Village Street and Vermont 103. The intent of this meeting is to provide an overview of this project to town officials, local residents and businesses, emergency services, and other interested parties. There will be a review of the existing site conditions, proposed work, and overall schedule, followed by a question and answer period. Representatives from both VTrans and the town of Wallingford will be available at the meeting to address public concerns about the project. There is a copy of the scoping report, which is available online. If you would, you're all welcome during the question and answer period to speak. We do request that when you talk, that you stand, state your name and your address when you are making comments. If for some reason, we do have a 7:30 meeting after this one, so around 7:20 we will be wrapping this meeting up. If you have not been able to voice all of your concerns by that time, you can submit them in writing to Laura Stone, beside me, and she can provide her email address to you if you are so interested in doing that. So without any further speaking on my part, I'd like to turn it over to Vermont Agency of Transportation, Laura Stone.
Thank you. I will try to keep this quick and talk quickly so people can get to their concerns. I really do want to hear the question and comments that come up. But yes, this is the public informational meeting for Bridge 15 over the Mill River, located on Village Street, Vermont Route 155. I am Laura Stone. I'm the scoping project manager. I will also be the project manager moving forward into the design. We have Gemma Polson here. She is a scoping engineer who works for me. She's here to take notes tonight. And Carolyn Coda, another VTrans project manager. So the purpose of the meeting, we really want to provide, talk about the background of the project, talk about the condition, the constraints surrounding the bridge, talk about some fiscal restraints. We really want to discuss our chosen alternative and the schedule, so when can we expect to see this in construction? And at the bottom there, we have provide an opportunity to ask questions and voice concerns, and that's really what we want to hear tonight. So this graph here, this really just shows we're at a really early stage of project development. A project's been funded. We're in this stage called project definition. This is when we identify environmental resources, historic resources. We evaluate our alternatives. Ultimately, we have this public participation piece, which is this meeting. And we really want to build consensus toward our selected alternative. After this meeting tonight, the project will be defined. That's when it will move into design. We'll be quantifying the areas of impact, starting the permitting process if needed, starting the right-of-way process. That's when we're really going to start developing the plans that are needed. After project design, contract will be awarded and we'll move into construction. So here is a map of East Wallingford. I will show you right here, Bridge 15 on Village Street. Also, we have the 140-103 intersection, which is in close proximity. There was a project that occurred in the summer of 2023. And so I just wanted to bring up a map of both of these locations. So project timeline, the bridge was closed back in January of 2023. A full depth hole formed in the deck. I have some nice pictures of that coming up. Later on, January 26th of 2023, we did receive input about that 103-140 intersection, that there might be an issue for truck turning movements. Bridge inspection is ongoing due to its condition. The bridge continues to be inspected annually. We don't want that to become a safety hazard if there's any of the concrete falling into the river. We had the 103-140 intersection improvements in the fall of 2023, and I have some pictures of before those improvements and after those improvements. We do want to discuss, as part of this meeting, how those improvements have been functioning, and if there are additional improvements to that intersection that we might need to take into consideration. So scoping happened the spring of 2025, the fall of 2025. So we have our scoping report that evaluated rehabilitation alternatives, replacement alternatives, disinvestment alternatives. And here we are at this public meeting to talk about what that report concluded. So here's a picture looking south. The road is classified as a rural major collector. It's a two-spanned roll beam bridge owned by the state of Vermont. So this project is 80% state funded, 20% federally funded. The bridge was constructed in 1940. So it has reached the end of its useful life. Here's a picture looking north. There are utilities, aerial utilities owned by Green Mountain Power, Consolidated Communications, Comcast, and Vermont Telephone Company. We do have underground utilities as well, and there are no municipal utilities attached to the bridge. So the existing conditions, there was advancement and deterioration with a 3.5 foot by 2.5 foot hole with soft concrete surrounding that area of concern that was discovered in the deck in 2023. It really is extensive throughout the deck. The fascias of the bridge have a lot of deterioration. The stringers are starting to exhibit section loss, so those beams underneath that hold up the deck, there's a lot of section loss of those as well. The substructure, so that's the foundation of the bridge, or the abutment sometimes we call it, that is in poor condition. Both abutments have cracking and staining. There is exposed rebar along the southwest corner, and the bearing areas have been undermined. The bridge does not meet hydraulic standards. There's no freeboard at the 2% or 1% annual exceedance probability, so it does not meet hydraulic standards, and the width is substandard. So here's a picture of the deck. That's that deterioration that I mentioned earlier. The deck is rated a 4. It's in poor condition. Our bridge ratings go from 0 up to 9, 0 being the worst, that's failed, to 9 is brandly new constructed. The superstructure, so those are the beams, those are rated a 5, they're in fair condition. The substructure is rated a 4, it's in poor condition, and the channel is rated a 5, it's in fair condition. So here's a picture of abutment 1. You can see some of that material loss under the bearing of this beam here. Here's abutment 2. Again, there's some loss of that bearing area on the substructure. This is the upstream fascia. You can see a lot of exposed rebar, reinforcing steel that no longer has concrete around it. You can see the paint loss of the beams. There's some section loss going on there. There's a picture from the underside of the deck of that full depth pop out, so you can see daylight right through the deck from the bottom side of the bridge to the top side of the bridge. So this is a bird's eye view showing the bridge. So if you were flying above, looking down, this gray section here, that is the bridge deck. These purple lines here, those are property lines. And these red lines here, that's right-of-way line. This red line, this red dashed line throughout the layout, that is showing the aerial electric lines. So historic traffic data, I did want to just point out the traffic data of all 3 of these roads here. These were from before the bridge was closed. So this count in 2022 showed about 1,200 vehicles on Village Street, 155. Showed about 620 vehicles on Vermont 140, and about 3,400 vehicles on 103. So the last time we came here, we heard a lot of concerns about the intersection of 103 and 140. We did some truck turning movements, and so our software showed that this truck needed this amount of room to make this turn. So we did, in the fall of 2023, have a project that was delivered, and this is the final intersection improvements that were made. So this grassy area here was meant to pavement, and now trucks, according to our software, can make that turn. Like I said, we do want to hear about how that intersection has been serving the public. So alternatives considered in the scoping report. We looked at no action. Obviously, something needs to happen so the bridge just doesn't fall into the Mill River. Strategic disinvestment. Strategic disinvestment is permanently closing the bridge. This option would remove the bridge deck, remove the beams. We would put up a fence to make sure that there's no fall hazard there. We could construct a turnaround at the end of Village Street. So if for snow plows or whatever needs to have a turnaround there, that could be constructed. Strategic disinvestment, we have an estimate of about $850,000. Next, we looked at strategic disinvestment, but with the placement of a new pedestrian bridge. Again, that would permanently close the bridge to vehicular traffic, but we would be constructing a pedestrian bridge. Construction of that pedestrian bridge for this project would be 80% state funded, 20% federally funded, no town share. After the project was completed, that bridge would be owned by the town, at which point future maintenance of that bridge would be on the town, and any future projects for that bridge would be on the town. That project with a new pedestrian bridge had a cost of approximately $1.9 million. Next, we looked at a bridge replacement with a new steel beam bridge. That would be a new vehicular bridge. It would meet geometric standards. We would build it to meet hydraulic standards, and that has a cost of approximately $5.6 million. Ultimately, what we suggested was a permanent bridge closure. We did want to give the town the option of constructing a new pedestrian bridge should the town of Wallingford feel that a pedestrian connection was needed from Village Street to 103. As part of a permanent bridge closure, Village Street would become town-owned. And so the town does get funds every year for Class 1, Class 2, Class 3 town highways, and so the town would get money to maintain Village Street. Bridge has been closed for over 2 years. A recent nearby intersection improvement project at the intersection of Vermont 103 and 140 ensures that vehicle traffic can safely be detoured around the bridge long-term. Like I said, further improvements to the Vermont 103 and Vermont 140 intersection would be evaluated during design of this project. Also, what we would want to evaluate is just if there's any improvements along Vermont 140 that maybe would need to be made. Maintenance of traffic, we're only considering an off-site detour during construction. So preliminary project schedule, we have this in our budget for 2032, so it's quite a ways out. Again, the total cost estimate is approximately 1 million to 2.2 million, depending if we construct a temporary pedestrian, or a permanent pedestrian bridge or not. Next steps, so really at this point, after this meeting, we're gonna wait for a response from the town, whether there's a need for a pedestrian crossing or not. After we hear back from the town on that, we'll proceed with conceptual plans. We will distribute those plans to the town at each of the project delivery milestones. We'll go through the right-of-way process if needed. We'll have updates on project plans and estimates at each submittal. Before opening it up to questions and comments, I will mention there is a website up here that is a public-facing project website. Tonight's presentation will be up on that website. Scoping reports up on that website. All future plans will be up there. And I said I would keep it short, so now I'm going to open it up to public comment.
Raise your hand and stand up and.
Hi, Chuck Sherrick from Senator Road, East Wallingford. How much was the construction to redo the road to make trucks go through there? Do you know what the cost was for that?
Well, it was an IDIQ project. I believe it was under $1 million.
Yeah.
So $1 million plus the 2.2, you spend 3.2 million to change the road and put a pedestrian bridge that serves like 12 houses instead of spending $5.5 million to fix a road that serves the entire community. That makes no sense.
So
That's dumb. I'm sorry.
So maintenance of an intersection, long-term maintenance, is a lot less for an intersection and for pavement than it is for long-term maintenance of a bridge. I don't think it's fiscally responsible to build a temporary, a permanent pedestrian bridge there, but that is something that we would like to offer the town, as that is a need that has come up.
Why don't we fix the bridge? In 1940, it got good use. I mean, don't we fix things when that's a used bridge. My daughter was in an accident there at the new refinished area off 103, and also, like, I was coming through last night and I slipped all the way through there. If a car was coming toward Ludlow, I would have hit that car. It's just not a very safe situation. I'm not sure why we wouldn't fix the bridge.
You're talking about the intersection piece? I mean, you have to understand that you're a community that has two bridges, less than a mile apart, that serve, they do serve the community in both senses, that they go to 103, correct?
Yes.
So we need to be fiscally responsible with the projects that we are putting out from here in the future. And it appears, and this is why Laura has asked that you let us know about a little bit more about the intersection improvements that we made. There's more that we could do for this project. It would be fiscally responsible for us to improve that intersection than to replace a bridge where there's another bridge less than a mile away. I
disagree with you. And if you lived here and you had to make that turn, I mean, first off, people are going 50 miles an hour plus on that road going toward Ludlow. And you're coming to almost a dead stop to make a right-hand turn to go back toward East Wallingford.
Okay, this is the stuff that we need to know, because what we could do, I mean, there's things that we can do to improve 103.
Bridge has been 1940, mind you, and it hasn't been, I mean, I've been here 30 years at East Wallingford on Centerville Road. That bridge was long been needed repairs, and all of a sudden it just becomes stop, close it, and then don't do anything with it. That doesn't make any sense. That's not fiscally or safety-wise conscious for the people of East Wallingford. I'm sorry.
Okay, so, what is your name again, sir?
Chuck Sharp,
Chuck Sharp.
SHRP.
Thank you.
Hi.
Your
My
name?
name's Sandra Bruno. I live on Seward Hill Road, but for 20 years I lived over there on that intersection that you guys did all the construction on. That intersection's never, no matter what you do, it's never going to be what needs to be done there. That is a terrible intersection now. I mean, it was bad enough before. This bridge that you're talking about, I've lived in East Wallingford for 66 years. The bridge that comes off is on 140. Water goes over that bridge. Every time we have a flood, water goes over that bridge. This bridge that you're talking about, I don't ever remember one time, in fact, one of the floods in 76, we were haying that meadow right there when it's flooded, and I had to go down the next morning and get the hay tedder out of there because it was underwater. That bridge didn't have one bit of water over it. For some reason, the way that bridge goes, the water shoots right under it. My concern is the other bridge floods, the little bridge on 155 by the yellow house there in the cemetery, that one floods, so you can't get to 103. This one never did. What are the people in East Wallingford if we get another major flood like Irene? How we get out of town? Because you can't trust 140 because there's a beaver dam on Bear Mountain and it washes 140 out. You can't get anywhere from Sugar Hill by going up over unless you got four-wheelers and a tractor. My problem is, this is unsafe. If we have another flood without that bridge there, that town is stranded for emergency personnel and whatever else. Irene, we saw it. I walked across that other bridge in water up to my waist to get back to my house that you got a picture of right there, with a propane tank rolling under it. That is so unsafe, not having that other bridge in the town of East Wallingford. And then you want to put a pedestrian bridge? For what? Who wants the pedestrian bridge?
That is what we're asking the town.
That's totally, to spend the money on that is totally, you go from Village Street to the store, which you're going to tear down the store anyway. For what? The bus doesn't even run in the summer, so it's not like you get out there to get on the bus.
And that's a decision that we're
The
not
town
gonna
needs to make that decision, I understand that, but I just want to make everybody aware, because I have lived in that town my entire life, I have seen it all in that town. What has happened when we have a flood or we have something wrong? I mean, we were pretty much stranded during Irene.
So it's a resiliency issue.
It is. That bridge is necessary. The people that live from this corner to the 155, those people are taking their life in their hands every time they try to pull into their driveway because people fly up through there. There needs to be, that bridge needs to be there to take some of that excess off.
Amen.
Okay? That's my concern. I just,
Nope.
I just, this corner right here, I'll tell you what. We used to sit right there on our little deck and hold our breath. And it's still like that. You still come around that just as sharp, and if it's slippery at all, you're right over in that other lane.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
I'm gonna let, this gentleman had his,
I'm around East Wallingford. I'm one of the four houses between these two junctions. Made a proposal to town fathers tonight. I want the speed limit on that section of highway from someplace north of the store to talk to Mount Holly and where it is. I want the speed limit dropped to a maximum of 40. I am tired of trying to pull out of my driveway and going south and having cars at 60 miles an hour literally on my bumper and being passed. And if you come from my driveway, which is 32 Vermont 103, it's 3 driveways further down than that, I have to stop at the bottom of my driveway to pull out to go south. because I have to look for the northbound or the southbound traffic.
So which home is?
Like around here?
It's,
I'm just trying to figure out.
yeah, approximately there.
Sarah, not-
Approximately there. I have, historically, I've lived there since 1981. My in-laws lived in the house just south of me since 1961. Never, ever turned left out of our driveways to go to Wallingford, ever, because of the hazards of the traffic coming in both directions. Right now, I always have to go left if I want to go to Wallingford to get to 140.
Okay.
Typically, we always went right, went across this bridge you've closed to go to Wallingford. I pull out of my driveway now, I have 60-mile-an-hour traffic, we'll call it 50 because that's the speed limit, on my tail. I have been passed as soon as I pull out of my driveway. I have had to stop because not only the traffic coming south, but the traffic coming north, when it goes beyond the 140, 155 intersection, there's a dip in the road. When it gets to 32 Vermont 103 in East Wallingford, it comes up to the rise. A small car hides in that dip. My stopping at the bottom of my driveway allows that car I was able to see hide. Now I go to pull out of my driveway, they're doing 60 miles an hour. I've had to pull back into my driveway, I can't tell you how many times, because they're over the witness line by 1.5 or 2 feet every time. I had my mailbox pushed back so the mailman can at least get his vehicle beyond the witness line so he doesn't get hit. So my proposal is, if you're going to do away with this bridge, which I vehemently oppose, the speed limit gets dropped, there's hidden driveway signs put in, and you do some reconstruction on 103 to take that dip out of the road or the hummock off of it so that there's a much clearer line of sight. But I still can't see that 60-mile-an-hour traffic coming south until it's right on top of me pulling on my driveway. This time of year, I can't be in a hurry getting out because the road's a little slippery. I go in the ditch on the other side. So my point is, I wouldn't waste the money on a walking bridge for a dozen people to walk across it for $4 million or $2 million. I'd spend the $5.5 to put the real bridge back in, to her point. That bridge on 140 next to the cemetery has had water over it every time we've had a flood since I've lived here. And long before that, I understand.
Even the old bridge. There was a house stuck on there.
Thank you.
Spend the money. Take some money from someplace else in the state, or do you spend it all of a sudden? I know
Yeah, take it from the
we pay our taxes every year too.
Okay, so, was there someone in the back with their hand up before this gentleman? No. Okay.
Go ahead, I'll wait till he goes.
Mark Barone, I also live in one of those houses between the two affected zones. I got a 6-year-old daughter. My wife brings her to school down here in Wallingford every day. And every day she's forced now to turn left out of that driveway with the same blind spot he deals with. We don't have the left visibility problems, but traffic's coming through easily 60 miles an hour. I can't tell you how many times I've got a phone call from my wife when she gets to the school crying because they almost got into an accident down there. Who's going to explain to me and my wife why my daughter's not worth $5 million?
Did you want to speak in the back?
Yeah. Lisa Donahue, I live on Hawkins Road, East Wallingford, and I would concur with everything that people have said. You try to turn off of that berm on and to go, what would that be considered, Joe? Take a left on 103?
Yeah, so kind of
It's so high that you can't really function like you normally would drive. So I would concur about the speed limit, and if anything, put a light there. But I would say replace the bridge. Yes.
In addition to Joe Donahue, in reference to the intersection that's been reconstructed, at night it is extremely dark.
It's insidious.
You cannot see that intersection whether you're making a right turn or a left turn. We know how steep the corner is when you're making a right-hand turn, when you're headed towards Ludlow, when you're going towards the village of East Wallingford. At the very least, that needs to be illuminated. You need street lights. You might entertain caution light.
Absolutely.
And the road needs to be marked better. You need better painting on the road to see that corner. It's impossible to see it in the dark.
You take a turn left or right off of there, and let me tell you something, it's a bit gnarly.
And it's no joke that people are traveling 60 plus miles an hour.
Easily.
Three.
Add a little black ice to that, and you got a recipe for disaster.
So did you put this in the fall, bridge, and it's been restriped since then, right?
You can't see stripes this time of year.
You can't, I know during the winter time, like if you drive to Pittsburgh going north, you can't, on that new bridge, you can't see anything. But has it been restriped, what I'm asking you, do you know or have knowledge if it's been restriped since 2023? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sandra Hoffberg. I live on Village Street.
Yep.
I think that it has been restriped, but the problem is, one, the double stripes on 103 like don't line up where you're to turn. And I think when it was done, I don't know, I'm not a professional, that the paint didn't like really stick. So it is really worn off. And so I agree that the speed limit needs to be reduced. There needs to be a yellow light there, and certainly to the people who live there, there needs to be hidden driveway signs, and just in general, like a sign if you're coming, if like you're going in the direction of Ludlow, a sign that shows like how that turn is kind of sharp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see sometimes if there's like a curvy road or an odd intersection, there's
Some
like
signs
a
that show
sign
like-
that shows you
Yeah.
how the intersection goes. There's also children living on Village Street, and it's unsafe for them when there's 1,200 cars a day going down the street. My son has been yelled at. The kids couldn't walk to the bus stop, which is at the end of the street by themselves. So it's a danger also to the residents living on Village Street. I don't think we should exchange the safety of one group of people for another group of people. And so I believe we really do need to make some improvements at that intersection. But I don't think rebuilding the bridge is going to solve all those problems. You're still going to have people speeding. You're still going to have the houses in the same position. It's still going to be a hidden driveway. And I would argue that with cars coming in and out of Fiscal, as well as then you have if you were to rebuild the bridge, and there's a curve there, I don't know that the sight lines are any better for the bridge. If the bridge was to be rebuilt, I don't know that the sight lines are any better than what they are at the improved intersection. And I would just like to say, I hear everyone's concerns about flooding, but when there was a flood in 2023, the road was closed anyway. You couldn't get to Ludlow or to Rutland. I think no matter what, with flooding, we're going to have these problems. I don't know that rebuilding a bridge, there's still other roads around that are going to flood, and we're still going to be stuck.
Hold on, who is?
Bill Baker, I live on Church Street here in Wallingford. I'm also road commissioner for the town of Wallingford. I've been driving tractor trailer, log truck for 40 years. Your intersection is not safe. What you're proposing, what you have on camera there is not even close. If you're sitting in a vehicle there waiting to turn or coming up 140 to go to 103, I cannot, or any tractor trailer cannot stay in the southbound lane for 103 without going into the other line and coming around. It's not wide enough. It's just not possible. You are in both intersections, not only in the intersection. If you're heading towards Ludlow, you've got to be over in the southbound intersection to make that corner, or you're going to take out a car that's coming up 140. It can't be done. I've been done there many times, done it most of the time. The problem is going the other way off from 140, taking a left, going down 103 towards Rutland. You cannot get out of the way of traffic, and I've had it happen, loaded, pulling down to 103, tractor trailers pass you because they can't stop. It's not a safe intersection. The bridge needs to be put back in, so this is eliminated for truck traffic. Cars are the same issue. They don't have such a, they're a lot faster, a lot quicker across the lanes. Guys with trucks don't have that issue. They don't have that luxury. When they start out there, that's not wide enough. You've got a 70-foot truck taking up 3 out of the 4 lanes, either direction, however you do it. It's not safe. There's going to be an issue there eventually. As far as what Mrs. Seward said about that bridge not being the one flooding, that's the only alternate they have for the rest of the townspeople to go out if that other one floods or will go out just like this one did. Then what are you going to do? You have no alternate. You know, you can't take 2 years or 3 years to fix that bridge and reroute everybody down through a pasture or something. You need to get that, an alternate for both ends. That's not safe. The bridge needs to be put back in so the north and southbound, or actually west and east traffic, is safe to do on coming on and off of 103. That's not, pedestrian bridge is nothing.
My name is Bruce Dobbins. I'm the town's representative for transportation, and I absolutely agree with Phil. Have any one of the 3 of you ever driven a tractor trailer?
No, I don't.
Well, I invite you to try, because what your computer says there is nonsensical. And especially if you're coming down the way that truck on the road's coming down and you're going to make a right-hand turn, the way that intersection dips, you have any ice at all, they're going to go right into the stream. You've got to have that bridge back so that people can make a safe right-hand turn into East Wallingford. It's a matter of public safety. You don't have a choice. Now, in addition to that, the new bridge or the new intersection you put in there, the only way that's going to be safe is if you make an on-demand traffic light there, not just a yellow flasher, so that if somebody's coming up on 140 and they come up to that intersection, the light knows that they're there, and then it turns red on the main road. It's the only way it's going to be safe. Otherwise, eventually, we're going to have a family T-boned at that intersection. And we're all going to be wondering how that could have possibly happened.
I'm sorry, you're representative.
I represent the town for transportation
Yes,
at
sir.
the Rutland Regional Planning Commission.
And your name?
Bruce Dobbins, as I said before.
I didn't. We've never met.
No, we haven't.
I just quickly want to say, this discussion here is very needed. Everyone needs to be able to state their views. I would like to remind people making comments or listening to comments, all of this is being recorded. Everybody's opinion here is needed. I just want to remind people to still be respectful, that even if you're hearing an opinion that you do not agree with, that you are still respectful while you are listening to these opinions. Okay? Thank you very much.
Hi, Leanne Down, I live on Village Street in Wallingford. I've lived on Village Street all of my life. So maybe I have a unique perspective that a lot of you don't. When I was growing up, you could play in the street, there was hardly any cars coming, the bridge was there, Bridge 15. Although it did wash out in what of 1978 that I have pictures of, I could send it to you. You have traffic on 103. Hold on, I gotta get my notes here. Back in 2018, I do believe there was a traffic study. You brought up some of it. There was almost 1,300 vehicles a day on Village Street that has no shoulders for these tractor trailers, and I get where you guys are coming from. Tractor trailers, drivers, we need them. But to look at the scope of Village Street residents, there's no way they can add shoulders on to make these that's a lot of cars going on a village street where no shoulders are, where kids are walking up and down the street to get the school bus at the junction of 140. And I agree, they've got to do something. I think, I don't know how you do it, but having a right-hand shoulder to turn on to 140 from 103, that would be ideal. Having the speed reduced like they did in Cuttingsville, that would maybe help the Barones and anybody that's trying to make a left coming out of their driveway, right? Putting the bridge back, like I said, I lived there all my life. To see hardly any traffic in the 70s and 80s to what it is now, it's not safe. There's no way that you can widen Village Street to accommodate all of this traffic that should belong on the state highway. Thank you.
You have something to say?
Yeah, just real quick. When this was all proposed, what year was it, 2023? I think he suggested, before you even started, putting a stoplight,
Yes, I did.
a stoplight on that corner. And I remember at that time, I was like, yeah, that would help a lot. Like he said, one that when somebody comes up on 140, people, because I don't care what you do, people are not going to slow down through there. Unless a caution light's not going to do it.
No.
Have you ever been up to the caution light in Mount Holly? People still don't slow down. That's just there for decoration.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why they were removed in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they're just there.
So, let's go back a couple years. Bridge is closed. No, bridge is closed.
Yeah.
We couldn't, there's no life left in the deck. We could not repair it. So we made a decision at that point in time to say, okay, we're gonna keep this closed for now. We're not gonna put a temporary bridge in because we have this detour right there. So we evaluated that intersection. We spoke to our traffic gurus. I know Ian DeGudas, I think it's been studied, this intersection's been studied internally on several different occasions. And at that time, we were trying to quickly come up with something that we could get at least trucks to make a turn. I'm not saying it's better than it was, because but it was determined at that time that a light would not solve the problems at that point in time for a quick solution, quick maintenance, quick fix. Not to say that it wouldn't work in the future as soon as you're able to do some work with the actual road. Reduce the vertical alignment so you don't have this blind spot. There's different safe things that we could do. Possibly at some point in the future, maybe a light will be required there. But we're not at that point. It hasn't been studied again. It would be interesting, at some point we should get a new traffic count. We should see if the 1,300 cars that were using Village Street are using this, or are they seeking alternate routes? So it's something that we are not there yet, but we're gonna be going there.
You suggested that way before you guys even broke ground over there, and everybody said, yeah. Because everybody that lives there knows that they come up 103, yeah, fast, really fast.
Had that study been done in 2023, when the recommendation was made, we wouldn't have this problem because we'd already have it in place and we know what the feasibility was and we would know what the expense was.
That is true, but we were looking at a quick solution at that point, and our transportation budget is a fixed budget, and we're looking at, and that is actually, so we're the structures group, that's another group, we've talked to that group, we wanted to get this scoping report, we were asked to really evaluate, do the scoping report again, come back to the community to say this is what we're proposing. Again, the town doesn't have a share for whether it's a new bridge or no bridge. But we wanted to come back and say this is where we're moving forward. We want to take all this information, go back to others. I do think personally, we'll go back to Ian DeGudis and say, hey, Ian, I want a full study here. They can also evaluate 103 speed limit through there, and do a speed traffic study. We can do those things regardless of what we do tomorrow. Whether we build a new bridge or we don't build a bridge. We will get that stuff in the works as soon as we can.
Be clear, you're not hearing hostility from this audience, you're hearing frustration.
And I understand that. I see the frustration. There's concerns on both sides, and it's really hard to, we have to take this information and analyze it, talk to different people, and we want to do what's best for the community and for the state of Vermont as a whole. So that is something that we're looking at. I have 3 minutes for 7:20. Okay.
One last big anecdote we're going to make, which has been very interesting to me. We live off of Route 140 in Wallingford, and we have an office here in town. Since that bridge has been decommissioned and this project has been reconfigured, I have witnessed a significant increase in tractor-trailer truck traffic up Route 140 from the town of Wallingford to the village of 140. And I cannot tell you how many times I have pulled over to help a truck driver make it through the Gulf.
Backing them down the whole
Way too
route.
small, it's way too narrow, they get stuck at the base of the Gulf, they have no place to turn a tractor-trailer around. Whether it's anecdotal or not, it's interesting to see how many more large vehicles, tractor-trailers travel Route 140 to Route 103 since this has occurred.
And that's good to know,
And that's dangerous in and of itself. There's been fatalities in that Gulf.
okay, I want to let this woman, there's 2 women.
Me. Hi, I'm Kim Sharp. Oops, lost my balance.
Don't fall.
Chuck's my husband. I've lived up in East Wallingford for 22 years. I think everybody here has lived in their homes while that bridge was open. And for everyone to think that now we should find something else to do, there shouldn't be an expectation of it being closed when you bought your house with it being open. And I think 1,300 cars a day warrants that bridge to be open. We know how much it was used. And having these meetings after meetings after meetings, and you're doing something really rushed. I mean, our daughter was in an accident, not her fault, because someone was trying to get through that turn too quick. And she had, I don't know what the damage was to her car, $2,500. I mean, she was 19. It was really, really traumatic for her. And no one should have to go through that with a young driver, and it was no fault of her own. And I would really, really like to see that bridge open. And this is not to disrespect anything that you guys are saying, I promise you. But on the road I grew up in, you used to be able to run in the street too. It was in Clarendon, I can't do that anymore. Times change. And I'm sorry, but I mean, I know what it was like to ride your bike up and down the street in my hometown. And it's, that's not able to do anymore. So.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Good, yes, you. You're our last.
Baby, I bought my house in July of 1971. And I live primarily on the second floor of it. And I have a full view of that roadway. And in the winter, trucks have a tremendous time. Some of them stop and back up, and it goes on, and traffic is backed up. A few weeks ago, there was some kind of an emergency with emergency vehicles. And I don't know where the fire truck was coming from, but they had a hard time with that turn. And we have to remember, it's not only East Wallingford. That is a western road. Mount Holly is up the road. These are all people that we've known forever. And I think, as you said, that bridge has been there, it has served. I think we need to look very carefully at the consequences of not having that bridge. rather than just saying, how can we make do? Each time that I can remember, there has been, when there's been a big flood, one of the bridges has gone out. Either the one leading toward Wallingford or the one leading to 140. And I think we need to really look at what can happen in an emergency. In Texas, people had the opportunity to offset a very big emergency. And they didn't. And I think we really need to be very careful about being good stewards of the heritage we have and being as safe as we can. And for the people that have a problem, we need to look for ways to make it less. But I think that just saying, oh, we'll just put it in a walkway, is not a very solid plan for emergencies, for all sorts of things. And the vehicles that are getting longer and longer.
Thank you very much. And what was your name again?
Cecile, C-C-I-L-E, Beatty, B-E-T-I-T.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think with that, it's my time, our time is up, I've been told. So,
So if anyone was not able to ask a question that they wanted to ask at this meeting, they are taking written down comments, and they can be sent to Laura Stone. If you can provide your email address?
Yeah.
Yes, so it's Laura, L-A-U-R-A .stone@vermont.gov.
And I'd just like to thank everybody for their participation in this meeting this evening. And if you're staying for the next meeting, that will be starting at 7:30.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It is now 7:30. Greetings. This meeting is an informational meeting being provided by Vertex Vermont Towers LLC, which proposes to construct a 140-foot lattice communication tower to provide reliable wireless services coverage by Bell Atlantic Mobile Systems LLC, DBA, Verizon Wireless, and future wireless service providers. The proposed facility will be located on property with an address of 100 Seward Hill Road, East Wallingford, Vermont, owned by Arthur P. Seward, David B. Seward, and Lowell W. Seward, Louise Seward, surviving spouse. So that's the intent, is to submit to the Vermont Public Utility Commission a petition for approval to construct the facility at the site. I'm now going to go ahead and I'll let you know, if you're new to this meeting, there will be time for question and answers.
Absolutely.
For those who would like to speak, you will be given the opportunity to speak at that time. We do ask, if you are speaking, just stand up, please state your name and state where you are living, okay? And without any other further, I now turn the meeting over.
Good evening. My name is Francis Parisi, and I work with a company called Vertex Towers LLC. I've been accused of being soft-spoken, so if anyone can't hear me, just tell me to speak up. As the chair mentioned, we're here tonight at the request of the Select Board to just give an overview of a proposed telecommunications facility at 100 Seward Hill Road. For those of you that haven't been involved in these type of facilities, we don't require permission from the town. We don't go to the zoning board or the planning commission or anything like that. These type of facilities are regulated by the Public Utilities Commission. And the process is that we file a 60-day notice with the town of our intent to file an application with the Public Utilities Commission, which we provided to the town back in October. That 60 days has run, but the Select Board has asked me to come to the board, to the town, to just explain it. We will eventually be filing an application, hopefully within the next several weeks, with the Public Utilities Commission.
Several stakeholders are involved, the town of Wallingford, the Regional Planning Commission, the Public Service Corporation, and other agencies throughout the state of Vermont, and all have an opportunity to comment. I was asked to talk at a Regional Planning Commission meeting several weeks ago, so they're aware of the project as well. Within the next several weeks, we'll be filing an application with the PUC. The public is allowed to participate in that process. It's a very long and lengthy process, and the town will be provided a copy of the application and all the materials as well. So I'm just here to give a brief overview. By way of introduction, Vertex Towers is what we call a wireless infrastructure developer. The names that you've heard of in the wireless world, Verizon and AT&T, have pretty much gotten out of the real estate business and partner up with folks like Vertex to be the infrastructure developer. We've been very active throughout all of New England. We're based in Massachusetts. We've done most of our work in New Hampshire. We built about 30 towers in New Hampshire. We've built 2 towers so far in Vermont, have 4 more approvals in Vermont, and have many more in other stages of development. In this case, we've partnered up with Verizon. I think you've heard of them. I think they're the largest telecommunications company in the United States. They already provide some service to the area. They have an antenna here in Wallingford Village. They have antennas in Mount Holly that provide some coverage, but there's still gaps in coverage, certainly in the East Wallingford area along the 103 corridor, the 140 corridor, that they're trying to improve service. So they're working with us to have us assist them in that regard. I hope I don't need to sell wireless telecommunications. The statistics are staggering. Over 80% of 911 calls are made by wireless phones. Over 50% of the world, or at least the United States, are wireless only, meaning they've cut their cord from their landline and rely on wireless telecommunications. Over the last several years, we've seen an exponential growth in wireless telecommunications as a result of the pandemic. People are trying to work from home, educate from home, and just the need, the demand for wireless services is compelling. The other thing that's happening is, as we migrate into better generations of technology, our phones are doing more. At first, we thought they were just telephones, and now they're internet access devices and streaming video devices and GPS and mapping software and all kinds of things like that. And that just requires a much better quality signal. As we deploy the more higher speed data and higher frequencies, the power output is still the same, but the frequencies are higher, and therefore the geography is less. So as we migrate from 3G to 4G to 5G to the different generations of technology, we're finding that the capability is better, the speeds are better, but the geography is less. So even places where you might have gotten an analog signal 5 years ago from the tower in Mount Holly or from the tower here in Town Hall, it's just that geography is shrinking, which just requires more and more telecommunications facilities throughout Vermont and, quite frankly, throughout the entire United States. We work very closely with the Department of Public Service. They've done an immense amount of work to try to improve telecommunications in the state of Vermont. They've done a bunch of polling of Vermonters. A majority of Vermonters agree that we need better cell service, especially, there's so much road coverage, the 103 corridor, the 140 corridor, and all the dirt roads around it that just don't have significant and reliable connectivity. Healthcare workers rely more and more on wireless telecommunications to communicate with their patients. Public safety is a huge issue as well. I sat through the last hearing and heard all the transportation issues and the public safety issues as a result of transportation and inadequate transportation infrastructure, and that creates more public safety needs. So, the demand for telecommunications is there, and certainly in the village of East Wallingford. Verizon, as I said, already has a facility right off of 103 in Mount Holly. They already have antennas here in downtown Wallingford, right here in this building, and so this isn't really designed to cover all of Wallingford, but certainly just the East Wallingford neighborhood, as you come through Mount Holly, along 103, and then the 140 corridor as it snakes through East Wallingford and then comes around the hill towards where we are now. This is a map showing where Verizon currently enjoys coverage in the area, and the different colors mean different thresholds of coverage. Just because you can make a cell phone signal in your car doesn't necessarily mean you can make it in your residence or in your basement of your residence. And what Verizon is trying to do, as well as other telecommunication companies, is provide ubiquitous service in your car, outdoors, in your building, in a building like this, which is a much more dense structure than a residence, in schools and other places of business. So like I said, there's an existing facility in Mount Holly, just south of Route 103, that has some benefit to Route 103, but as you know, having lived in East Wallingford, the signal kind of drops off as you come into East Wallingford and continues along Route 103 and Route 140. They also have antennas here in Town Hall to provide, decent coverage to the village of Wallingford, but it certainly doesn't get over the hill that separates Wallingford from East Wallingford. And this is really a result of the topography. The topography here, as it is throughout all of Vermont, is very challenging. We have a very big hill in between East Wallingford and Wallingford that kind of cuts off the signal. The facility in Mount Holly is on the wrong side of the hill from the East Wallingford perspective, so the signal travels 103 east going towards Ludlow, but certainly not along 103 west going towards East Wallingford and then continuing to Wallingford. As an industry, we utilize whatever we can that's tall. There's not a whole lot of tall things in Vermont. We were able to use the town hall here to put antennas in, but it's certainly not an opportunity to provide coverage to East Wallingford. There's really not a whole lot that we can do. There's so many other regulations and restrictions that we're subject to. The state of Vermont has very extensive environmental restrictions. The federal government had very extensive environmental restrictions. There's so much conservation and wetland, certainly down in the village of East Wallingford. So there really isn't a whole lot of opportunities for us. We have a difficult time finding suitable properties, but I think the property that we'll focus on, 100 Seward Hill Road, is not only a very appropriate location, but probably the only location that we can go to provide this service. The lot itself is about 175 acres. As you come off 140, Seward Hill Road goes up. It's a dirt road. The property is right kind of where Seward Hill Road curves to go farther west towards Wallingford. It's a very large 175 acre parcel that extends all the way down into Wallingford Village and then to the west as well. The property has been farmed over history. So the facility will be substantially set back from Seward Hill Road, but is in such a way that we don't have to take down trees. We get to utilize an existing driveway. It's basically a cart path that goes through the property. So from a construction standpoint, it's minimally invasive. It really has no impact on the environment. The facility itself is really just a 60 by 60 compound with some electronic equipment and the telecommunications tower. In this case, there'd probably be about 6 weeks of construction activity, and then it's completely passive. We don't, there's no water, sewer, there's no people. It's completely unmanned. It's all remotely monitored so that there's really minimal traffic at all. We'll do some minor improvements to the driveway simply to facilitate construction, but it's not paved. We don't plow in the winter. No one visits it in the wintertime. So it's very, from a neighborhood perspective, it's incredibly passive and quiet. The lot itself is so big, it provides ample setbacks. We're about, at the closest point, 770 feet off of Seward Hill Road, and then dead on Down the access driveway, it's more like 900 feet, and then 1,000 feet to the west, 800 feet to the south. So it's amply set back off of Seward Hill Road to minimize the impact on abutting properties. Like I said, the compound itself is really just 60 by 60 inside a chain link fence. There'll be some telecommunications equipment. There'll be a couple of drainage elements around it to prevent stormwater runoff. There's ample parking along the access driveway for the maintenance vehicles that might come by, but for the most part, it's incredibly day purposes or anything like that, so it's quite passive and benign. The tower itself is what we call a lattice tower. It's kind of like a giant erector set. Initially, Verizon Wireless will attach their antennas at the top. We need to make sure that we build it to accommodate other telecommunications companies, and we find over time that AT&T and T-Mobile and other carriers will co-locate on it. The tower we built in Rockingham has 3 sets of antennas on it. It's only been up for about 2 years. The tower we built in Bennington already has 3 sets of antennas on it. So, we have to be very thoughtful about.
Sir, could you not put your hands in front of your mouth when
Oh,
you're
I'm sorry.
talking?
I'm sorry. So it's designed to both accommodate Verizon Wireless and other telecommunications companies with the requisite height, structural integrity, and space at the base for their equipment as well. These facilities are very low powered. They're not designed to cover a very wide area. It's kind of hard to say because it's very amorphous, but they broadcast out at about 100 watts to design to cover like really the East Wallingford neighborhood and parts of 140 and Route 103. There's many facilities, several hundred throughout all of Vermont. There are tens of thousands nationally. There are very similar antennas in this building now, right above us. So it's, like I said, they're designed to be very safe. They're very heavily regulated by the Federal Communications Commission for both the frequencies that they broadcast at and the power output. And the reason is because it's a two-way communication. Unlike AM radio, which is, or FM radio, or television, which is really a one-way communication, AM radio broadcasts out at about 50,000 watts to try to get as big a geography as possible. This type of communication broadcasts out at about 100 watts because it's a two-way communication. You have a device that you talk on that's trying to communicate with the nearest cell tower, and that device is the nearest cell tower is trying to communicate back. So it's a very low-powered facility, and they're designed to be well under applicable FCC limits for radio frequency emissions. And what this is designed to do is really to cover the East Wallingford Village, 103 as you can come out of Ludlow and through Mount Holly and continuing along up to the north, and then the 140 corridor. It certainly doesn't connect up with the facility in Wallingford where we are now because of the huge hill, the Bear Mountain Hill, but it certainly provides very good coverage through most of 140, through a very large section of 103, and like I said, the East Wallingford Village as well. But everyone wants to know what it's going to look like. Back in December, we put a balloon up in the air. I tried to notify as many people as possible. I put an ad in the paper. We notified all the abutters. I communicated with Town Hall, the Regional Planning Commission, very extensively, and everyone thinks, 140 feet, you're going to see that all over everywhere. But as we found out, it's never invisible, but we found that it was minimally visible, and that we have a lot of pictures to show to demonstrate that. We took lots and lots of pictures, but I just have some representative photos here. The place where you see it most, the green circles where I have photos of the facility and where we've actually done photo simulations to show what it's going to look like from those locations. There was a little bit of visibility along 140, or along Seward Hill Road. There was minimal visibility along 140, a little bit along 103, and but, in the village itself, down at the base of Seward Hill Road, a little bit, but, for the most part, it was quite minimally visible. This is probably the greatest visibility. As you look straight on from Seward Hill Road, where the access driveway is, we could see the balloon, and then we can superimpose a tower. But at this point, it's about 900 feet, almost 1,000 feet off the road, so it tends to blend in. The tower itself is made of a galvanized steel, kind of like a guardrail that you see along the highway, so it's non-reflective. It tends to blend in with the skyline. We've made many attempts to try to disguise these things and paint them different colors and make them look like fake pine trees and stuff like that. And we found that the more you try to hide them, the more they become visible and more intrusive. So the design itself is really the least intrusive design and minimally intrusive. And what this shows me here is that you're seeing about the top 60, 70 feet of the tower, not the full 140 feet, just given the way the land slopes and things like that. And as you go down to the west of the site, looking back, you're seeing it just above the tree line. You're not going to see it with the leaves on the trees, so for at least 60 to 70% of the year, you're not going to see it at all. And it's going to be muted behind the trees. And this was taken from Old Town Farm Road, looking towards the east, toward the site. This was taken from 103 by the on Sugar Hill Road. And again, you could see the balloon, so what that tells me is you're seeing about the top 10 foot of the tower, but again, given the distance here, it is quite minimally visible. This was taken from this is taken from 103, again, well below the tree canopy, but visible through the trees where there was some, just a relatively undense canopy. But as you can see, this is probably 1,500, 2,000 feet away, so it really starts to blend in pretty easily with the existing vegetation. And this is taken down from Sugar Hill Road, farther down looking back, and there was no visibility through the trees. So we have lots more photos that were taken from the demonstration, but I think, you'll, if anyone had a chance to see it or not see it during the visibility demonstration, I think you can agree that we picked a pretty good location that provides the quality signal without being terribly visually intrusive. The last thing I'm going to say is both the state of Vermont and the federal government is trying to strongly encourage this type of telecommunications. They recognize the great public safety benefit for better telecommunications. About almost 30 years ago at this point, the federal government adopted very comprehensive regulations to encourage wireless development. It's back in the time when we had one telephone company, AT&T, and they broke up the AT&T into multiple companies, and they issued wireless licenses to multiple companies in order to foster competition so that we had choices in the telecommunications, and also to encourage the development of this type of infrastructure. And what the federal government basically says is, you don't have to say yes. You don't have to say, yes, we want these everywhere, but you can't say no without sufficient reason. There's got to be a good reason why you don't want it here as opposed to someplace else. If we were putting it in the middle of the village or next to a school or some other sensitive use, the town might have reason to say no. But as the industry has evolved, we've gotten pretty good about understanding what people's concerns are with respect to visibility and setbacks. So we've been much more careful in where we place these things. And also, you can't have the effect of prohibiting. You can't say, no, we don't want wireless. The government, both the state of Vermont and the federal government, recognizes the great public safety benefit for these things. So you can't have regulations that have the effect of prohibiting these type of facilities because, like I said, the public safety benefit is clearly of great benefit to everyone in the town of East Wallingford, people traveling up and down 103. And there's been an immense amount of work throughout the courts to just says, you just can't say no. And I can't say you got to put it everywhere, but, we got to we all got to work together, be thoughtful. I think we as an industry, Vertex as an infrastructure developer, has been very successful in citing these in places that still meet the technical requirements, but aren't as problematic as some of the facilities that were built in the past. And the ultimate goal is to get the public utility. We get what we call a certificate of public good from the Public Utilities Commission. The town will have an opportunity to weigh in on that. They'll get the full application. They'll be able to answer questions. They'll be able to make a recommendation, pro or con. And we would request that the town make a positive recommendation, given the great benefit to the town, the minimally invasive location of the facility, so that we can continue to move forward. We still have a long way to go. We're not building this anytime soon. Given that they are, the state of Vermont is very heavily vested in these things from an environmental perspective, we need to get sign off from the Department of Natural Resources, or the Agency of Natural Resources. We need to get sign off from the federal government. We do, unlike any other facility in Wallingford or in Vermont, we're very heavily federally regulated. We need to make sure we don't have any impact on fish and wildlife and plant species. We have no impact on Native American resources, so there's a very extensive environmental due diligence that we continue to do. But we're quite confident, based on the engineers that we've retained, the consultants that we've retained, that we'll be very compliant with all the environmental regulations, with all the minimal impact regulations. And so we would respectfully request that the town make a positive recommendation to the PUC when the opportunity comes up. That's really all I have. I've got a lot of, I got all the time in the world if people want to ask questions, and be happy to go through the process. I'm certainly here to do whatever I can to facilitate this development. Go ahead.
Mark Barone, what are the odds that a project like this gets denied or doesn't come to fruition?
So the process is we apply to the Public Utilities Commission. They have, for a certificate of public good. The town has an opportunity to comment on it. I'll tell you, we got 6 approved this year by the Public Utilities Commission, 4 of which the town didn't comment at all. They said, we don't care. There's a couple where the town says, well, we want more information, and in one instance, the town said, we don't want it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the Public Utilities Commission gives credence and deference to the town, but it doesn't necessarily agree with the town, because the Public Utilities Commission is tasked with trying to do this. If the Public Utility Commission ultimately denies it, we can go to federal court, because the courts and the federal government is trying to encourage it. So it's a very long process, but we've been very successful, because we kind of, I've been doing this for about 25 years. I've heard many people like you express their concerns, and so we as an industry, and certainly Vertex as a company, has gotten really good at citing them so that we do get positive recommendations.
Do you see this as a positive to keeping the farm open in town?
What's that?
Do you see this as a positive to keeping the farm open in town?
Yes, quite frankly, these aren't huge moneymakers. We lease 60 by 60, and we work with a lot of farms to, give them money to pay their taxes. They're not getting rich on this, but because it's kind of like, because we're doing this in so many cities and towns throughout all of Vermont, throughout all the United States. But we have found that farmers like us, because we're so minimally impactful to their farm, but allows them to continue farming. Go ahead.
Are the landowners given any limitations to right-of-way or anything like that? Do landowners still maintain complete control over their land?
We lease literally 70 by 75. We build 60 by 60, so that's a postage stamp. and we have the right to drive down a driveway and bring in utility service.
So it's a right-of-way for the driveway?
Yeah, it's just a right-of-way for the driveway. They control everything else, there's minimal restrictions on them. They do what they want. So, and I, quite frankly, I don't get involved with them. I don't know who they are. They might be here tonight. I've never met them. But we try to, we don't restrict their ability to do anything, and we just ask for a very small postage stamp to do these. And it's a challenge too, because we, you know, people want them set back from abutting property lines, and so we got to find large parcels that don't have other value, because, and so this continues, the landowners continue to farm the property and use it the way they've been using it previously.
Tony Music, 868 Bixby Road. No one likes to talk about death and stuff like that, but what happens if this becomes obsolete, or, I mean, is it just going to stand there, or are there sort of provisions made for it being taken down? I mean, Verizon or you might go, you know, bankrupt, and then what happens with this thing? Do you know?
That's a very good question. It comes up all the time. We're anticipating as a company, as an industry, that this technology is going to be around for a very long time. We've signed a very long-term deal with the landowners, and I don't even know exactly because I don't get involved, but generally they're very long-term, way past my lifetime. However, if the town were concerned about that, they could ask the Public Utilities Commission to put a condition in that we post a bond to remove it in the event that it becomes obsolete. We're not anticipating that, but many towns have requested bonds so that if the town were concerned, they could request the Public Utilities Commission to require us to post a bond, and we would do that. It's just an insurance policy. We have a lease with the landowner that says if we terminate the lease, we take it down, but you're right. Who knows what's going to happen 50 years from now? So it's a reasonable request.
Hi, my name is Sandra Hochberg. How much does it cost to erect this, and how does it get paid for?
So Vertex is basically a real estate developer. We invest our capital. I don't know, it's kind of hard to say because they're all different. I'll tell you in this case, because there's an existing driveway, that's kind of the most expensive part of our construction. So not having to develop a driveway makes this less, but Vertex builds the tower and does all the infrastructure, brings in utilities, builds the access driveway, and then leases space on the tower. And Vertex leases the land from the landowners, and then we lease the space on the tower to Verizon and AT&T. But I don't really get involved in the finance part of it. I'm just here for the permitting. Go ahead.
I don't really have a question, but I feel like this might be the only time I get to educate some people on some things about cell towers and voice my concerns. My name is Naomi Bombardi-Wilson, and some of you might know me from being in the play Murder by the Book right here in this room, or which raised money for the Gilbert Hurd Library, or as the co-chair of the committee for and the organizer of Wallingford Day. The proposed tower will be about 1,500 feet or so as the crow flies from my front door. And first, on behalf of neighbors who have expressed their gratitude on Front Porch Forum, and to me directly, I'd like to thank the Seward family, David, Louise, and Lowell before her, and Arthur, for making our property available to their neighbors and the greater neighborhood as a whole to walk, cross-country ski, the top of the world, as they call it, and boy, is it beautiful at my picnic there, which I have been, and hunt. It is not only generous, but it's super neighborly. That said, it saddens me that they would then consider such an unneighborly thing as a cell tower to impede this landscape. And I can only assume it's because they have not been informed of the health hazards this will impose on them and their neighbors. And it's my understanding from some of the Seward family that due to the high cost of property taxes and the possibility of these increasing in the near future, They have been given no other real option if they also want to maintain their land. Sadly, however, no one will be able to hunt, hike, or cross-country ski that area again safely if the tower is erected. Cell towers emit radio frequency electromagnetic radiation, herein known as, I'll say, RF EMFs. And the World Health Organization has listed RF EMFs as a Class 2B possible carcinogen. This is backed by a study in Brazil, which the American Academy of Pediatrics has cited, stating RF EMFs as a danger to children. In recent years, concern has increased about exposure to radio frequency electromagnetic radiation emitted from cell towers and phone station antennae. An Egyptian study confirmed concerns that living nearby mobile phone base stations increased the risk of developing headaches, memory problems, dizziness, depression, and sleep problems, and also concluded that high exposure to RF EMF produced by mobile phone base stations towers was associated with delayed fine and gross motor skills, spatial working memory, and attention in school adolescents compared to students who were exposed to low RF EMFs. And I have an 11-year-old son. Additionally, this exposure increases the rate of mortality by all cancers, and specifically by breast, cervix, lung, and esophageal cancers. A recent medical study published in Frontiers in Cardiovascular Medicine by Dr. Robert R. Brown, Vice President of Scientific Research and Clinical Affairs for the Environmental Health Trust, released on February 11, 2025, revealed that an ultrasound study proved wireless radiation can cause blood cells to stick together, a cause of cancer. The following countries will not allow a cell tower within 10,000 feet or about 2 miles of a school, hospital, or neighborhood. Switzerland, Italy, and even China, a country known for exploiting child labor, even they won't allow a tower this close to children for health reasons. Surveys of people living near cell tower antennae in France, Spain, Iraq, India, Germany, Egypt, Poland have found significantly higher reports of health issues, including sleep issues, fatigue, and headaches. In studies of people living near a cell tower and those in a safer zone, the group living closer to the antennae had, for example, statistically significant higher frequency micronuclei and a rise in lipid peroxidation in their blood. These changes are considered biomarkers predictive of cancer. The International Association of Firefighters has officially opposed cell towers on its stations since 2004 after a study found neurological damage in firefighters with antennae on their fire stations. Those who say we are being exposed every day through our phones are correct. We are. But you can turn your phone off. You can attach an RF EMF device, like Safe Sleeve, to it and put it away. A tower cannot be turned off and emits larger frequencies nonstop, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Additionally, cell towers can catch fire when they contain hazardous materials, creating serious safety issues, as cell tower compounds contain hazardous materials such as diesel fuel and lead acid batteries. These can leak and pollute our pristine area. Lastly, cell towers reduce property values. Within half a mile from a tower, your property reduces in value by 2.6 to 9.78%. For reference materials and many more statistics, please feel free to explore the Environmental Health Trust website at ehtrust.org/cell-tower. The only way this tower is benefiting the town is by making it possible for the stewards to afford their property taxes. There has got to be another way that we can help our neighbors achieve this goal. Just as an example, spitballing, if each of the 2,079 residents paid just $20 per year as an entrance fee for use of this piece of land for hiking, cross-country skiing, and hunting, which they have given to us for free for so long, it would solve that cost for them. If the residents refuse to help out their neighbors who allowed them the privilege gratis for so many years in this way, well, the stewards could sell maybe 2 10-acre lots of this land for high-end homes if the town would help them with rezoning. They could then invest that money and most likely make more than they would make from the towers yearly lease and more quickly. And the town would gain more property income taxes to boot. The cell tower construction is going against what most Wallingford residents have voiced as important to them per the last town plan dated 2018. In other words, the words that were used were quiet, community, beauty, friendly, health, and the desire for new restaurants, and the wish for business development that would employ a large number of people. There is no long-term employment for Vermonters created by this tower. All the financial benefits of this tower are going to the people of Massachusetts. Not only that, the tower is antithetical to the mission of the Rotary International, which includes fighting disease, providing clean water, sanitation, hygiene, improving material and child health, and protecting the environment, amongst others, and the founder of which, Paul Harris, called Wallingford his hometown, and wouldn't that be sadly ironic? Not only are cell towers the cause of cancer, headaches, sleeplessness, and stressor to dairy cows, which sours their milk, and other animals, but the actual construction itself creates noise and erosion pollution. Additionally, it's an eyesore when entering East Wallingford from 103 on 140, and to various homeowners from those with homes along Fieldstone Way, several on Moranville, and those on Parker. I have different photographs than you. This goes against the town plan, which states that Wallingford, quote, is a historic district whose character and aesthetic appeal should be maintained, which is on page 8 of the town plan. There's nothing historical about a 140-foot. Additionally, the town plan emphasizes the importance of, quote, encouraging the preservation of farm fields, viable forestry operation, and natural areas, page 12. The erection of a tower negates this. Yes, the town plan also says that East Wallingford would be suitable for light manufacturing, of which they included, quote, public utility substations and telecommunication facilities, but this was written about a decade ago, years before studies and medical journals published the proof of the detrimental health effects of these towers, which I stated earlier. I would like to request a new town plan be drafted, actually. I understand that because of Section 248A legislation, my arguments here might be futile and in vain, and the construction of the tower may go forward regardless. If that is the case, a few things. One, will Verizon and Vertex Vermont Towers guarantee in writing that all residents within 2 miles of the cell tower be free of anti-indemnification clauses, and if the health of the residents deteriorates, that they will compensate all medical bills plus $1 million per resident? Second, will they cover the copper and fusion painting coverage of each house within the same area to reduce the exposure of those residents to RF EMFs? If they cannot guarantee these things, it is because they are aware of the health risks of the towers, as they noted themselves. See T-Mobile's 2023 Securities and Exchange Commission filing on your own wireless company's phone protection plan, for example, Verizon's paragraph 16, where they refer to RF radiation as a type of pollution. Also, insurance company reports compare the RF radiation issue to asbestos and repeatedly rate cell towers, 5G, and RF radiation as high risk. And this is why insurance companies exclude coverage for health damages from RF radiation.
I'm going to interrupt you.
I'm almost done, one more paragraph. As industry standard, you can see that in our own town's insurance policy, I'm sure. I'm truly saddened and sorry we even have to have this town meeting and that I have to state all of that in the following, as I hope I will not have to, I hope it will not have to come to this, but I would like to let the town of Wallingford, Verizon, Vertex Vermont Towers, the stewards, and the Utility Commission of Vermont know that as of the reading of the statement, all the residents of my home at 155 Fieldstone Way, Wallingford, Vermont, are in great health. The statement I will have backed up by my physicians in writing, and that if this proposed cell tower is erected and our health situation changes after its erection, we will be forced to take legal action. I encourage all my neighbors listed and who received the 60-day advance notice who can declare the same in writing to Verizon, Vertex Vermont Towers, the town of Wallingford, the Sword Fountain, and Utility Commission of Vermont, as if any health problems do befall your family. Let me finish, please, sir. Let me finish. After the erection of this tower, if there is no precedent set or prior proof of health, you will have no recourse. In conclusion, I hope we can find a way to help our neighbors pay for his property taxes and have a higher quality of life without the erection of a cell tower and all the health risks it brings, and maintain the beauty of Wallingford. Thank you.
I'm around East Wallingford, live on 103, build the towers. I'm tired of people using my now defunct network extender for broken down vehicles on 103, accidents on 103, and Even as recent as this past winter, I've had 2 people knock on my door because their cell phones didn't work to call for emergency services because they had an accident and went in the ditch. Build the tower, please.
And if you can't build it, I got a piece of Mount Holly you can build it on.
Thank you. I just want to respond briefly. When I say the internet is a wonderful and dangerous place, and there's lots of information and more importantly misinformation out there. The federal government has been compiling an immense amount of information about wireless telecommunications. The short answer is that the government says that towns and even the State Public Utilities Commission can't take into account the perceived health effects because they deem this technology safe. But I also tell you, we've been living with this technology for 100 years. We've had AM radio for over 100 years. In this room now, there's Wi-Fi. In this room now, there's 2 sets of antennas right above us. So, and the village of Wallingford, the beautiful village that we have all around us, has been benefiting from it by better telecommunications. There's no reason why East Wallingford shouldn't benefit as well. This is dramatic. The antennas here are about 80 feet tall in the steeple right above us, and in much closer proximity to the residences because they're much smaller lots. This is set back very amply. We've done a very good job about siting it to provide the benefit, but also having no detriment to people. There are literally hundreds of similar facilities throughout Vermont, and there should be thousands, but it's just a very challenging place because of topography and terrain. There are tens of thousands of similar facilities. I will tell you, in the church that I go to, there's 2 sets of antennas because we live in an area with a very tall steeple. There's 2 sets of antennas. My brother-in-law is the pastor, and my kids go there and have gone there for years. The school that my kids went to, the fire department and the high school share a parking lot, and our fire department built a tower for their own benefit and then also lease space on it to telecommunications companies. And my kids have been parking underneath it for years because it's the shortest walk from the parking lot to the high school. There's just many anecdotes to show that not only is this safe, but provides an immense public safety benefit. The day I was here for the balloon test, a school bus broke down right in East Wallingford Village, and they had to tow the school bus away and bring in another school bus to bring the kids to school. And they had to, but they couldn't make a cell phone call in East Wallingford Village and they had to go to the store to call to get a tow truck for the school bus. And I've heard lots of stories about the transportation issues in East Wallingford tonight. All those get not mitigated, not avoided, but resolvable with a better telecommunication. So I think the great public safety benefit is certainly a compelling reason to move forward with this project.
Karen Smith, I lived in East Wallingford for 39 years and just moved to Wallingford. If people have either a problem or they want to voice their opinion on wanting the service, where should they write to someone?
Yes, the process is that we'll be filing a formal application to the Public Utilities Commission. The direct abutters get notice as required by statute. The town gets notice, and there's a 30-day comment period. So I noticed you guys have a newsletter on the website, and like this meeting was in the newsletter. I think the visibility demonstration was in the newsletter. That would probably be the easiest way to get the word out to the town, other than the direct abutters. But I'm telling you, we're going to be filing it. The goal is by the end of the month. It might be early February, but it's coming, and then you'll have a time period in order to write letters or express opinions to the Public Utilities Commission.
And it will say there where we can send those letters?
Yeah,
Or should they be sent
the town will get notice of that address. The Public Utilities Commission is actually very electronic. They take emails. The application is posted online, all the materials. It'll be quite extensive, given all the environmental regulations that we have. And so there'll be ample opportunity for public comment.
Do you have any alternate sites that you've looked at for this?
We do. We'll be filing that information with the Public Utilities Commission. I don't know them, but like I said, we're challenged by a variety of different things. It's got to be a requisite location to satisfy the telecommunication needs. The engineers get involved. There's an immense amount of conservation land, and as you go farther west in between East Wallingford and Wallingford, there's, huge areas of state forest. As we go down into the village, the lots are smaller, they're all residentially used, there's substantial wetlands. We do an immense amount of due diligence to show not only this is a suitable location, but one of the only available locations, and we certainly provide that data to the town.
Second question is, how many companies can be on this one tower?
We anticipate 4, and that's a very fluid situation. When I first started doing this, there were 7 different telecommunications companies. Over time, there's been mergers and divestitures. There are 4 active companies right now, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Dish Networks. Dish Networks is in the process of reconfiguring, and something's going to happen with them. And there's some talk about Google or Amazon or even Starlink buying them. So we don't want to be, and I use a bad pun, we don't want to be short-sighted and build it too short, because then it's not valuable to other telecommunications companies. So we anticipate that there'll be up to 4.
Did you say this is 5G or?
Yes. What's happening is the 5G stands for generation. We started off with analog phones and the big bag phones, and we went to digital phones and then high-speed data phones. And the 5th generation is just using higher data speeds, higher frequency bands, and it's kind of facilitating what they're calling the Internet of Things, where machines can talk to machines. I think it's a long time before you get driverless cars in Vermont, but my daughter was in Phoenix last week and got in an Uber with no driver. And the Uber was communicating wirelessly with no driver. And it's a long time before we get that in Vermont, but eventually that'll be throughout the United States. So.
So you said this could be there longer than you live, 25, 50 years. Who's to say that this can't turn into 6G, 10G? I mean, you're not guaranteeing us that that's not going to happen. And that just amplifies the more just bridges.
They're already starting to talk about 6G. It's theoretical at this point, but you're absolutely right. Telecommunications is evolving. We had rotary phones, and then we had push-button phones, and then we had cell phones, and now we have digital access devices. There's going to be evolution. And what Vertex does is build the infrastructure, the height, the structural integrity, bring in utility service to accommodate that. But you're right. Telecommunications is going to evolve, and hopefully it evolves better, but it's pretty good right now.
What's the average tree height over in East Wallingford? You showed your little pictures up there, but I have a feeling that's not quite true. I want to know how much higher this thing is going to be visually above the tree. I love driving over there, and I just think, oh my God.
I will tell you, in general, it's about 85 feet, but that presupposes a flat world. And this is going to be above the trees. If there was a tree next to it, it's going to be above the trees. But it's kind of on the side of a hill. The trees below it are actually shorter because of topography. The trees behind it, as you go up Sugar Mountain and then towards Bear Mountain, are taller. So a lot of towns in New Hampshire try to regulate based on the tree canopy, and we have to request variances or whatever, because that's kind of like an arbitrary statistic. It depends on where you are. If you have a tree in front of your face that's 10 feet tall, then you can't see a 140-foot structure behind it. So and that's why we did the visibility demonstration, because from where you stand, it's the most relevant, not.
Well, what we see, we're Vermonters, we choose to live here, what we see is beautiful Vermont. So, did you say this is going to be, what, stainless steel, or, they're painted green, or?
No, it's like, the same color as a guardrail. It's galvanized steel, it's non-reflective, it doesn't reflect the sun. The antennas are like a off-white, it's a very benign color. It's so many people have tried to you know, I've built them that they look like fake pine trees. And you know what they look like? Fake pine trees. And over time, they become like Charlie Brown Christmas trees because the branches fall off, because they're not designed to, you know, be pine trees. It never looks like a Christmas tree. It looks like a toilet bowl brush. So it, yeah, and you stick the branches, and it's all mechanical. It's just like your artificial Christmas tree at home. And 10 years later, it looks like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree because branches are broken. It's just, the more you try to hide them, I've had towns say, paint it brown to here and then blue to here because the sky is blue. But then it stands out more if you're at a different perspective because, you know, from someone's perspective, the sky is here, but from some other perspective, the sky is here. You have very diverse tree colors. They're orange in the fall, and they're light green in the spring, and they're dark green in the summer. So, you know, trying to hide it just calls more attention to it. And like I said, 140 feet sounds tall, but as you see from the perspective and the distance, you know, you're seeing maybe 10 feet, maybe through the trees. You know, it's not like you see 140 feet of steel. So it's
40 feet of steel is still too much.
But, you know, that's what they said about the windmills and the lighthouses, and that's what they said about other historic features. You know, we evolve, and you know, I drive down the street and see telephone poles, and this is designed to not replace those, but make those less necessary, so that we.
There's a silo over there somewhere that you could.
Does anybody else have any questions? Anybody else?
It's not only the towers, it's the things that go on the towers that decorate it.
Can I say something?
Who was just talking? I'll tell you something, if you've seen the balloon, okay, there's no leaves on it right now. Where that's going, when you go for your rides up there, not this time of year, I hope, because we'll be pulling out a ditch. Summer? Is that when you go up through there?
I go through there quite often.
You're never going to even see it in the summertime with all the leaves. I don't believe you're going to see it. At all. No, because our place is right there. And we could just barely see it. Once the leaves are on, I don't think we're even going to be able to see it. If it's the aesthetics that you're worried about, I don't believe you're going to see much of it in the summertime. Through all the maple trees and everything that are around it. Because they also are pitching it over a bay. So it's not going to be like it's something right in your face.
It's not going to be on the top of the.
No, it's not going to be there. It's going to be pitched over a bay. So the only thing that's sticking up that you're ever going to see is the tip of it.
When they're putting it there, when they need to transmit.
It will transmit over
In the ditch?
because it's hot. The property actually is hot.
It's just at the
Okay,
top.
but it, no. Yeah, it's very high.
Years ago, they tried to put some top on Baptist Church top.
Have we discussed?
Tristan Wilson, I'm just wondering if there's a cap on the
Would you
wattage.
stand up and state your name?
Tristan Wilson, is there a cap on the wattage?
Yeah, these are very heavily federally regulated, so there's a cap on the frequencies that they broadcast at and the power output. And so it's designed to be well under applicable FCC limits with respect to that. But, you know, like I said, they routinely broadcast out at 100 watts, and they broadcast out more like when they're using it. Meaning if there was a county fair or something like that where there was hundreds of people in Wallingford Village, it broadcasts out more, but at 2 o'clock in the morning when no one's using it, there's no communications coming from it. So it's a very low powered facility.
There's a maximum frequency that's allowed?
Yeah, the frequency bands are very heavily federally regulated so that they operate within very specific frequencies. And Verizon has allocated a variety of different frequency bands, some in the 700 megahertz, some in the 1900, some in the 2400 megahertz. And it's designed so that they don't interfere with other types of communications, like radio or public safety. The police and fire have their own frequency bands that they communicate on. And it's all designed and regulated so that there's no interference between the different types of telecommunications.
Is it true that if you're running at a lower frequency, your signal will travel through more dense, let's say, building, trees, mountains? The higher the frequency get, the less it's able to transmit through those obstacles, similar to old TV antennas.
Geographically, yes. Structurally, no. The lower frequency bands, like the 700 megahertz bands, or even like AM radio is like down in the 200 megahertz range. The Verizon has some frequencies in the 700 megahertz. Public safety is like in the 800 megahertz range. And that travels farther distance-wise because it's a wider band than the higher frequencies. But nothing gets over a mountain. It doesn't, go over a mountain. So like Bear Mountain is a very huge structural impediment to anything between Wallingford and East Wallingford. We still got to get above the tree canopy in order to, because dense foliage, even in the winter, when you've got, thousands of acres of trees, even without leaves, that's a structural impediment. And then when you're in a building like this, the brick walls are a structural impediment. So, but the higher frequencies have better data speeds, but they travel less distance, so.
Well, I think, one more.
Tammy Burdick. So how do we know what the frequency will be? Because you are building it and then Verizon takes over, correct?
We own the
They run
structure.
it?
We own the structure, and then Verizon leases space on the structure. So they broadcast out at their frequencies, yes. So how do we know?
We don't know really, you tell us, but we don't know really what's going on once the structure is up. And do you have any literature on, because you tell us all the good things about how great this is going to be. There are no guarantees that we will still be able to use our cell phones, which I don't really care about. It's more important to me that it's a proven fact that there is danger with these, just like a microwave or a cell phone, that there's danger living next to them, like you said. And she lives right next door to it, so I fully understand what she's trying to say. Do you have any literature or anything to say about the health hazards that this could cause? Other than just all the good things
There's a lot
about
of
it, you know what I mean?
If you go to the FCC website, they've compiled an immense amount of data. Like I said, the town of Wallingford has their antennas right here. The exact same antennas that are going to be 1,500 feet away from someone in the audience here are 100 feet away from the people that live right next door. And that, when you go into more dense urban areas, Burlington or Boston or
Right, but this 5G tower is a little different than having an antenna or something like that. They're dangerous, everybody knows it, and if you don't, maybe you should turn your internet on and look it up. Because Robert Kennedy, who is a pretty smart man, is working against this to get that act, that law changed, because it gives the FCC, they can do whatever they want. Like you said, you can't say no, because you're going to do, not you personally, but the companies can put these in wherever they want, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. If it's, you're living right next door to it, and you have to worry about being microwaved and the health hazards, what can you do? Nothing. But that's why he's trying to get laws changed. People ought to be able to, like, I can't even build a shed in my yard without a permit, and then if my neighbors complain, that's poo-poo. But you can put this in, and we just have to take, I don't live next to it, but I'm here because I care about that. I don't know. I don't have proof. I don't have proof it's a good thing. I don't have proof it's a bad thing. But there's a lot of literature, thousands and thousands of pages. Bobby Kennedy is a very intelligent man.
He just was on, get interviewed on the 16th saying, well, why would he be fighting? He's a lawyer. Why would he be fighting the FCC trying to get these towers? It's great if you want them, but put them away from where people live. Put them away from schools, because it is inhibiting our health. You can say it's not. We can all feel that it's not. Some people think that it's not. But how do we know? Cancer is a sneaky thing. And for me, everybody around me is getting cancer right now. We don't know what it is. It's like crazy. The different health problems. And they say, we don't know, we don't know, we don't know. We don't know. We have all these toxic things around us, and this is one of them. And no matter what you say, I'm going to feel that this is not a good thing. And I feel bad for the people that are putting this on their land and living there and living next to it. Because I would not live next to it.
I guess I'd leave that up to the landowner.
We need and heard all the information we need, and this, if there's more comments, the select board certainly would be open to hearing them. Thanks all for coming and participating. And I need a motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor, say aye. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much.